What's going on, guys? Back with another video. So today we have Pierre just absolutely unloading on Canada's criminal and justice system. As we all know, there's been people who have committed horrible crimes, even to children, who are being released on bail. Home invaders not getting charged, but the person protecting their home gets charged. Violent criminals being caught and then released back out onto the street. So we're going to have a look at here. Now, this is an 8-minute video. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I also have another clip to show you as well. This one is from Mark Nixon. He says, Pierre Poilievre, full tilt on crime. Canada first, victims first, criminals last. That's how it should be. Put criminals in jail and throw away the keys. This is my prime minister. Well, it should have been Mark, but see what we can do next time. Let's have a look here, and then we'll talk about that as well.
This house here behind me, the owner has spent $100,000 on extra security, bulletproof windows, camera systems, alarms, electric fencing in certain parts of the home. I won't get too specific because I don't want the bad guys to know exactly where and what he's got. But can you imagine spending $100,000? Do you know before the Liberal government you could buy a house in some parts of Canada for under $100,000? Now that's what it...
I actually remember a time. Back in 2008, I was about 20 years old. I was actually looking to go buy a house here in Hamilton. Now, houses for under $100,000 in Hamilton weren't very nice. Some of them it's like 75 grand, but they were fixer-uppers. Pretty small in bad areas. But there were also houses that were just over 100 grand here in Hamilton that were pretty nice. Maybe not in the greatest area. They weren't mansions, of course. But decent houses for 120, 125, 130,000. If you went to a place, like... Sarnia, or if you went up north, you could probably very easily find a decent house, a nice house even, for 100 grand back then. Those same houses now are probably about $500,000 with no upgrades.
It costs to secure your house. Crime is raging out of control. And you heard the stories of the courageous victims behind me today, telling their stories. I find it incredible that Sean Fraser, Minister of Injustice, the man who ruined our entire immigration system before Mr. Carney then promoted him to be responsible for the crime crisis. He said the other day, this is not the Wild West. Really? Has he talked to these victims? A woman who's had to leave the country of her birth to live in another nation because she's afraid of her ex tracking her down? Has he talked?
I think he's talking about Kate Alexander there. Because I know she had a terrible situation with her ex, who, by the way, didn't go to jail. So I think she lives in California, America, by the way, because she feels safer in America. That should speak volumes to any of you elbows up morons who think the Liberals are here to fix things. This woman feels safer in America than in Canada. No one would ever even think to say something like that or do something like that 10, 20 years ago. More like 20 years ago. Back when Canada was a proper country.
Talk to the family of Aleem Faruqi, the courageous father who rose in the middle of the night to defend his kids and lost his life in front of those children. The 3 cowardly scumbags who carried out that attack. I bet you anything they have already been arrested in the past. I had one family member of a crime victim the other day say, Sean Fraser is right. It's not a Wild West. It's a war zone in some of these communities. People in these neighborhoods are terrified. They are genuinely afraid of the crime that is raging in our streets. And these are not just stories. This is not sensationalism. This is data and facts. Here's what the facts say if you believe Statistics Canada. Under the Liberals' catch and release system, extortions are up 330%. Sexual assaults up 76%. Violent crime up 55%. Homicides up 29%. A majority of Canadians told a pollster that they worry a lot or worry sometimes about their own personal safety. A majority of Canadians are now afraid to live in Canada after a decade of these Liberals.
And not only that, they're afraid to protect themselves. If we weren't so afraid to protect ourselves, we probably wouldn't be scared. But we feel like sheep. You go outside, someone tries to hurt you, and you're like, okay, I need to defend myself, but I can't hurt them too bad because then I'll go to jail and they'll be let go on the street to go do this to someone else. It's going to be in the back of your mind if this situation ever happens to you, and I hope it doesn't. But if it does, it's like, of course, defend yourself. But then it's like after, if the situation is over and the other person's hurt because you defended yourself and the cops show up, it's like, oh, great, now I'm in trouble. So it's not just that they're scared to go outside at night. They're scared that they don't even have a way to defend themselves without potential prosecution. They care about the criminals more than they care about the victims. It's absolutely shameful.
Liberal laws. In Toronto, residential robberies are up 50%, and we see more than 900 armed robberies in the last 2 years. The rate of armed robberies is actually doubling. And the stories are piling up. They are horrendous. We've got the story of James Plover. He was released while awaiting sentencing. 3 hours after his release, he brutally murdered Bailey McCourt, his ex-wife, in a parking lot just 4 kilometers from the courthouse. Daniel Senecal.
All right. See, these stories are so depressing. It's like, there's times where I don't even really want to make these videos. Because you just listen to all these stories and it's like, my God, man. When are people going to wake up? They legitimately thought that we had a Trudeau problem. We have a liberal problem. You saw how these people reacted to Charlie Kirk. Sick, disgusting people. Not all of them. There are some normal people on the left. But most of them are out of their fucking mind. Out of their mind. And not just with the Charlie Kirk crap, but with how they think, how they vote, their ideologies, one-issue voters. And then the issue they want, or that they think is important, isn't even correct. I know people, young women who think that if Pierre Poilievre were to get in, he would change abortion laws. He cannot. He could win every seat in the House. He could still do nothing about abortion. It is protected by the Supreme Court. The only way that will ever change is if in the future there comes a time where the young kids growing up now decide, hey, we actually do want to change the law, and they put a lot of pressure to get the Supreme Court to change that rule, however that process works. But that's nowhere near close to happening. Nowhere near. And a politician can't just do that on their own. And again, these people are allowed to vote. I'm not saying you should not be able to vote because you disagree with me, but if you're a one-issue voter and the issue that is so important to you isn't even correct, stay home. Get out of our way. Some people want change. Some people just want, well, it's my right to vote, and, oh, yippee, look at me, I voted. Yeah, if voting is so important, then take responsibility and pay attention a little bit, and you'd find out the one thing you voted on, you were wrong about. If you want to be a liberal dummy, then just go be a liberal dummy. You don't need to make shit up. But what is a liberal if they're not making things up? So let's get into this video here. Sorry about this little rant there. But this is from Table Salt. So Pierre's going to talk about a convicted PDF file. Daniel Senecal, who is accused of reoffending. And this is a really sick one. So I know there's been a lot of tensions the last couple days. It's been rough. But this story is probably going to make you feel sick too.
Daniel Senecal. He had already been convicted of sexually assaulting a 12-year-old boy. And the liberal justice system released him so that now he's charged with raping a 3-year-old child. This is sick. As a father, I am sickened by these stories and the unnecessary nature of them. All of these crimes were avoidable if the criminals had been kept where they belong, in jail, and not released. And then, of course, we heard from Naim, his brother Alim, who is a hero, frankly, a true hero. He did the greatest act of courage that any man could do, defend his family, and he lost his life for it. Again, almost certainly at a totally avoidable tragedy. How did this happen? You know, some people say we need bail reform. No, we have bail reform. That's the problem. We have liberal bail reform. It's called C-75. And let's stop blaming the judges. The law is very clear. The Liberals wrote into the law that a judge must release the accused, and I quote, at the earliest opportunity, under the least onerous conditions. At the earliest opportunity, under the least onerous conditions. That is the Liberal bail reform. And that is why in the city of Vancouver, they have had to arrest the same 40 offenders 6,000 times.
Like, what do you even say? I mean, Pierre pretty much said it. I mean, this is sick. It's sick every single time it happens, and it keeps happening. It keeps getting worse. And the Liberals are like, yeah, we need to do something about this. Let's go create an office space so we can have some meetings and have this discussion. It's like, my God, man. You've had all summer, and Mark Carney said in my last video that we have not taken the summer off. Okay, great. So, on September 15th, when they come back into Parliament, which is next Monday, I would imagine that the Liberals are going to have a lot of bills to table and try to get passed that are good for the country. I would think that's the case. But I just have a feeling they're not going to have much ready. Just a bunch of lists and promises and, oh, one day, soon, in the future, sometime, someday, some way, somehow. We'll get things done, we promise. But give us years to do it. And all I can say to that is I just hope Canadians aren't that stupid again.